Life is a journey, but how do you even know what that means? I think it's really important to have a practice, perhaps multiple practices, that help you hone in on consistency, not even the practice itself. That's not necessarily what matters, especially at the beginning. I think what matters are the qualities that you develop over time through practice, like consistency. I remember before I was Muslim, consistency was one of the hardest things for me. Just to have a practice. I knew that I was religious, spiritual. I knew that I believed in God. But a lot like what the Quran talks about is that, you get into a dire situation and you call on God. And then when that situation settles down and you don't really have that desperate need anymore for his help, you forget him. Not only do you forget him, you start to associate, these are like minor, in Islam we call them minor shirk, minor associations with God. And that's not helpful. It's not helpful for us as people on a spiritual journey. And and that's kind of the worst of it, right? So first shot of the morning, here we are, 35er, 3 bullseyes with the compound, and 1 arrow about an inch away from that. So, as we were saying, the spiritual journey, things like consistency. Who doesn't need important qualities like that? Who doesn't need to develop important qualities like consistency? Consistency in what? Consistency in anything and everything. Remember that one of the most important things, one of the things that brings people happiness, fulfillment, are good relationships. And it took me a long time. I hadn't heard it probably until I was in my 30s at least. And this revolves around like marriage relationships with, that significant other. In life when you kind of intuit things, you intuit a need, you intuit but you just don't know what it is. You don't know what it is you need. You know you need something. You know that something's not right, something's incomplete. For me it was choosing that if you're in a committed relationship like a marriage, but again, it can go across the board for anything, that every day you choose your partner. Every day you choose your wife, your husband. Every day you choose your mother, your father. Every day you choose your child. Every day you choose to be present to be understanding, to be compassionate, to be caring. In all of those essential relationships in your life, every day you choose. And that's what practices of consistency help us do. And again, I didn't have a practice like that before I was Muslim. I mean, as a Muslim, you want to have that practice 5 times a day, at least, right? We have the prayer 5 times a day. We have shahada, we have the vocally, or at least in our hearts, remembering, witnessing that there is a God, and that we believe in the angels, we believe in the unseen, all the unseen forces, the books that were brought by the prophets. We believe in the prophets and the messengers. We believe in the day of judgment, and we believe in destiny, the good and the bad of it. That's kind of like consolidated into our, everyday belief system of there's no God and Muhammad is his messenger. That is the essential, like, basic beliefs that we have. And so we're moving through life consistently with all of that. And choosing to do that means doing that in everything. And that's the life of a Muslim, is that his striving, his intentions are to do everything that he does for the sake of God. And in that is a practice. In that is a practice, and life is held inside of that practice. Everything that he does is defined by that. Everything that he does is guided by that. And yeah, that's a practice. That's a deep practice. That's a consistent practice. That's a practice that that Muslims are trying to constantly find resolve in. They're constantly trying to maintain that. And like I said in the past, archery is one of those practices, because the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace be upon him, he said, do archery and recite Quran. And for him to put those two, learn Quran and archery, for him to put those two things together is significant. Because the Quran is the only book on the planet that, if we were to lose all books, the Quran is the only one that could be brought back together verbatim. All 10 versions of it, all 7 strong versions of it. It would be the only book that we were able to do that with. Why? Because it's memorized by thousands and thousands of people. The entire thing. It's memorized by thousands and thousands of people. And so, when you see the life of a Muslim, it should kind of feel like the life of, a samurai, right? What's that? That line in The Last Samurai, something like, the general is in their village, and he's just in awe of the lifestyle and the people and how they're living. He wakes and says something like, every day that these people wake, they intend to master whatever it is their focus is to master whatever it is they intend to do, something like that. And that's the life of, that life has meaning. All right, we got 4 in this time. Finally, we got 3 in this little 3 touching. No, not touching, not 3 touching, 2 touching, but they're less than this third one is less than a pinky apart, so that's cool. But this, again, I wasn't trying to do this. I wasn't trying to get them this close together. And I think that what's beautiful about consistency and beautiful about these kinds of practices is you get to start to see, like, yeah, that wasn't my effort. I made an intention. I wrapped it in some actions. I put some experience and feeling to those intentions and actions, and I let go. Well, in Islam we would say, and I said Bismillah. I said, in the name of God, go. And that's the action. But yeah, I wasn't, I guess maybe neuro-wise, my brain and my body had found a spot in my eye, obviously, because it's part of all of that. Have found a consistent spot that they could recalibrate with after every shot, right? Even if I'm dropping my bow and my arms, putting a new arrow in, aiming and shooting, I don't even want to say nervous system, because even that minimizes the reality of the full experience, right? My whole being kind of was able to somehow recalibrate and recollect, what it had done prior, pretty close, 3 times. But it's a compound bow, man. This is like a machine. This is not a bow and arrow. It's a machine. It's kind of cheating. These are my first rounds of the morning. It's pretty nippy. You can probably see my breath. And like I'm hitting like that. Watch this one. This time I probably won't even hit with such a precision. Thirty-five yards. It's not too far. It's the furthest on this short range. Yeah, that one's way off. See, and this is the thing: is that you can be consistent as heck. You can have a really good round, and then the next one you completely blow it. And then to look into that and ask why. And so this is the thing about ritual, right? A lot of people say, I don't like religion. I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. Why? Because religion has, a central authority that governs whatever, finances and, people's spirituality and all these things. But a lot of people just don't like ritual because it's repetitive. It becomes mindless. No, actually, that's the perfect time. And that's what we're talking about, consistency. right? To have a practice where you are consistent and constantly choosing, day in and day out, moment in, moment out, choosing to challenge yourself. Can I continue to do that over time? Can I continue to be as consistent as I was the last few times? Or if I am consistent, what's that thing that breaks the consistency? That thing being in me, right? Like, was I proud? Did I lose focus because I thought I already had it and I don't really need to do that anymore? I'm good. I got it. Like, that's what consistency, that's what ritual does. It allows us to see. It's a mirror, right? Consistency is a mirror so that we can see more deeply than the mirror in the bathroom. That we can continue to choose. That we can recalibrate. Let's see how we do this round. That we can recalibrate when things go off. Because that's life, right? We're going to have fluctuations, ups and downs. But where do we go? We always go back within. We always go back to inside of ourselves. We can blame the sun. Oh, now the sun's over the trees and it's going to ruin my vision. It's cold out here. I've got work in a little bit. Got bills to pay. I was frustrated with my wife this morning when I left the house. Yeah, I can say all those things. And they might be true. So what? This is your life. This is your life. Like, those external things, some of them you have no control over. And honestly, this is how I put pain. Like, when clients are in pain, and to help them have a mindset around it, is the first level is we should expect it. We should expect mishaps to happen. That's what this self-development is for. It gives us the tools to to react well when mishaps occur. And that in and itself is a deep science. Okay, we got a little grouping here, not too tight. It's okay. We got one right in the middle of the X. That's cool. Look at that, right in the middle of the X. But you know where I actually where I aim most of the time with my pin? I'm putting the pin like up here. So my pins might be off, but you know what? I don't think my pins are off. I think it's me. And I just have to constantly correct, because I think that I tilt my bow towards the right. And so I have to like bring it this way, constantly kind of working to bring it this way. And to me, when I'm going to the right like that, that feels natural. That feels like it's horizontal. But my arrows show me something totally different, and that's pretty consistent at almost whatever range I am, whatever distance I'm shooting at. I have to make that adjustment in myself, and so it's really strange, but it is what it is. And because even if I adjust the things on my bow, if I make those adjustments, it still ends up being the same. And that's just for me. Maybe I'm wrong, but hey, if I can at least get near that bullseye, and if I can hunt with that sort of consistency, then I'm good. it works for me. Let's do one more on this 35er. See what we can get. Seems like I was better kind of earlier on. And then we'll jump over to the horse bow. As you know, my love is the horse bow, because you just couldn't pull something like this off. However, if I could be that consistent in 35, as consistent as I am with this, with a horse bow, oh man, that would be utter joy. It would be like, I don't know, enlightenment or something. Yeah, that horse bow, man, that's a tough adjustment. Talking about adjustments, I mean, we have a level in here, right? We have pins for sights. We have, you know, a trigger where I'm barely touching the string, right? We have a little counterweight right here. It's ridiculous, right? So there are all these, talking about consistency. Consistency, you know, this is like urban life right here, right? Everything is man-made. It's like there's a law or a rule governing every little aspect, and we've got it all under control, right? The only thing that you really need to work on is, but again, the only thing you need to work on is yourself. Goes back to that. When doesn't it go back to that? I think it always goes back to that. But that's not easy. That's not an easy place to get to either. Knowing and believing and living as though it all goes back to us, that's a tough one, man. That's tough. Like most people won't go there. But man, and I remember, you know, so in Islam, there are the 5 prayers, right? Most people know that, even non-Muslims. But those aren't the only prayers. So after that, there are extra prayers that we can do. And in order of importance, those extra prayers, the next extra ones would be the night prayers. Oh man, look at that. That's a sad story. That's a sad story. Nothing in the bullseye. But I have a nice group. That's cool. I have a nice tight group, about as big as the bullseye, the X, almost as big as the X right there. So that's cool. I'll give that to myself. It won't be too critical. We'll come back maybe after shooting the compound a little bit. Come back to this and see what we get. But yeah, the next level of those voluntary prayers are night prayers. And night prayers can be tough, especially when we're trying to do them consistently. You know, and one of the, or probably many of the people on the spiritual path have said that, you know, the first 20 years of that I would try and pray night prayers was hard, was grueling. I hated it. It was not fun. But then the next 20 years was all sweetness. And so that's how it goes. You know, as modern people, we want everything, you know, perfect and now. Give it to me perfectly and give it to me now. So do you know about the Turkish bow? I don't know if I've posted it for a while, but this is the Turkish bow unstrung. To me, this is like the letter Ba in the Arabic alphabet. Ba is kind of like a U shape with a dot underneath its middle. Yeah, the middle of it. And they say that the secret to the first chapter of the Quran, which is called the opening, or the opener, or Fatiha in Arabic, that chapter summarizes the whole Quran. The secret of that chapter, Al-Fatiha, is in the first verse, what some scholars say is the first verse, which is the Bismillah. We talked about that earlier. The in the name of God, doing things in the name of God. So the secret of the first chapter is in the first line, and the secret of that first line is in the letter Ba. It sounds like a B. And the secret of the Ba is in the dot. And so the dot is like the bullseye. So it's a constant Muslim practice to shoot, to aim for the bullseye, because that's the secret. That's what we're trying to get to. That's our whole goal, is to the Bismillah, to do whatever it is you do for the sake of God, not for you. Because remember the verse, Ara'aita min al-takhadha ilahuhu, Ara'aita min al-takhadha ilahuhu. Didn't you see the one who took himself as his Lord, right? Romping around the earth, vile, doing whatever he pleases, that type of person, you could say. That's maybe one example, but there's depths to it. This is always a little bit of work to string. Let's warm it up a little bit. Whew. Talk about trying to create stability. You got to create stability with your. It's like when I pull this string back, he's doing this. And that's trying to get it like kind of full draw, at least to my body. It's tough, but consistency and work over time. That's where the growth is. That's where the lessons are. That's where the meanings, start to emerge, is in consistency. All right, let's hop over to the 10. We'll go 10. We'll try and get 7 or more within the white. I'm going to draw this bow a few more times just to warm it up. So, we got some beat up targets over here, don't we? It wasn't like this, but it is the beginning of the month, and I think that on probably this weekend, the first weekend of the month, they have club shoot, and that's where they put up fresh targets. Man. I don't always like warming up. Sometimes I like just to go and shoot without warming up, but it's like my arrow definitely goes off. My arrow gets thrown off. So I'm just kind of working to, I just want to warm it up and see how it goes. It's chilly here. So the other thing is, again, I'm thumb drawing. Right now I'm using 3 fingers, but when I get into the thumb draw, it's not going to be so fun. 4, we're doing the new hold again. That's beautiful arrows between the fingers hold. Some of my fletchings are still, you can see they've been affected by the wet weather. I don't think they're wet anymore, but I need to get some new arrows. It's been a little while now. All right, let's see. So we're trying to get at least 7 inside of the white. I'm shooting to the left. 10 yards. That one was in, but bounced out. So those are some of my thoughts this morning. Consistency is one of the most important things that we can have in life, and it's a blessing to have consistency. You know, to be able to have consistency, you need to be, not need to be, but relative peace, at least peace within, right? At least to have peace within yourself. And that is a mark of a Muslim, that he strives to be content. That's another one bounced out. I might move that. Leave it. Too much work. Shooting high. So let's see what we got. Yeah, 2 arrows bounced out. It looks like one isn't. 2 are in the white. Oh man. But I probably got 3, maybe 4 inside the white with these bouncers. Not bad for my first shot of the morning. A few more rounds. Let's see how we do. So what is your, what's your practice? Where do you fit ritual and consistency in your life? Or do you? Or do you feel like you need to? Because until I started committing, choosing, despite other callings. Until I started to do that, it was really hard for me to go inward. It was really hard for me because you need that. We all need consistency. If we don't have that, doesn't go well. But peace is a great, peace and security, well-being. These are important things. And I think we'd have a better world if there was more of all of that. And not blaming everybody else all the time, which is something that so many of us tend to do. That bouncer was white. Oh, show. But what do we got this time? 4 high in the black. Probably 5 in the black. This one is just riding the line right here. I think it may have touched the white, but I'm going to call that black. We got 2 in the bullseye, so we got 4 in the white. Six outside of it. It would have been 5. All right. Let me set a new intention inside of myself and have, just get more clear in my head and focus less on the video here, less on talking, less on sharing ideas around this practice of archery here, and get more into the archery itself. That's what this is about, right? So let's see if I can get into my intention here. I was in, bounced. I think the birds are better than listening to me talk, huh? Let's see, a 7 out of 10 would be a C, right? This one bounced, this one was in. So we got 3 bullseyes this time. All right. If this one was in, we would have had 8 in the white. So let's say we got 7. Yeah, so I think with a little more focus, it's doable. So that's my first 7. And I'm going to go for 2 more back-to-back shots, and then if I can get those, graduate to the 15-yarder. Just going to focus a little bit more here. Let you listen to the birds. The birds are beautiful. There's an airplane, if you call that a bird. This, a couple of years ago, I made a trip to Saudi, and it didn't even feel like traveling. It seemed so easy. Being in an airplane, traveling halfway around the world and back. Doesn't anyone crave like a real adventure? Not sure if I got it. Let's see. Pulling out from the black. 1, 2, 3. Got it. 1, 2, 3. All right, that's 2 in a row. I still want to get 8 or 9. 10. 7's good, but it's it's just above failure. All right, let's see what we got. Looks like 9. Yeah, you got 9. 3 in the bullseye. 2 in the bullseye. But that's cool. All right, I'm off to the 15-yarder. But I will let you go. I hope that was, thank you for coming with me. I think it's actually less about me and more about you. It's really helpful just to have kind of a reflection companion while I'm doing my thing. So thank you for watching to the end, and we'll see you soon.